Nformi, you're welcome back.
Thank you very much, MC. I am happy Mr. Shea Henry is here and he was able to contribute, and I'm very happy that he's been very active person and very engaged, and we just continue to pray for him all the time in my house here concerning the things that happened. But God is with him, and as you said, we are praying. Okay. He touched on two things: Kwangu and Kwangu and Tugu. If you listen to that presentation, the first three steps, you find that I am not so concerned about terminology at this particular time, because I have not talked about Nyoring. You know, I've not talked about Nyoring. Nyoring and Kwangu are Mringni stages. Okay, and those are stages that I have described, but not naming them in the Mringni stages. So there are many things when you want to discuss or you want to put things together, you may end up not putting the terminology that actually is identical to Mbum culture as it is needed. So thank you very much for noting that. Knowing that this presentation is the beginning of things, we are going to make things far better. Okay. So now we are going into step 4. Remember that step 1 was Yengwa, step 2 was Mringni, step 3 was Gigu. Okay. Now we are going to step 4, which is bride price. Bride price. And bride price is called in Limbum Rekap. Usually when you are leaving step 3, some people say, okay, we want to, since we are done with step 3 today, yes, how about let's talk about the bride price. It will form a transition into paying the bride price immediately or paying the bride price in the future, which means they will say, okay, let's talk about it. We have finished the marriage proper. So let's talk about bride price. For those who say we want to talk about bride price right away, they are very wise in these days, because you marry a wife, if you don't talk about bride price now, the bride price may increase tomorrow because it's not steady. So what happens is those who have finished their marriage can decide and say, okay, let's talk about the bride price. Now you talk about the bride price. We call it price arrangement. Okay. So you talk about the bride price. And you know, some people don't want to call it bride price. They want to call it arrangement, or they want to call it bride talk or bride price talk or something. Anyway, but they sit down, they talk about the bride price, and they settle it. If they settle it, it is very good. They settle it, they say, okay, the bride price, we have talked about it. The bride price is, we have settled it to 200,000. Now, if you have this money, you can give it now. Or if you don't have this money, know that we have settled the price to 200,000. Then you can pay it in the future. Anytime you come to pay the bride price, you just have to pay 200,000. Note one thing. If you do not settle this bride price, take for example, my son is getting married to take their daughter, take the wife to United States. Now, they get married, she gets married, he gets married to this daughter and doesn't settle the bride price. And they come to America and the woman is so rich. The woman has become so rich. He has gone to school, have a doctorate degree. Now, the family, we want to go back and settle the bride price now. The family will bangmir. They will say the bangmir means they have red eyes, they are jealous. They want more money now. They want more money now since they have seen how their daughter has now gone to your family, has increased the wealth of your family. They want more money now. Sometimes, you know, it's very difficult for you to hesitate not to pay. Sometimes you pay in anger. But realize it's very good when you go and finish with your marriage proper, sit there and settle for the bride price and only come to pay. Another disadvantage of not settling the bride price is that when you come to settle it, you will go through an initial ritual again in order to settle the bride price. This very ritual that I'm going to talk on step 4. When you come, step 4 now is bride price. Now I want somebody to tell me the meaning of bride price or the meaning of cap. Tell me the meaning of cap in Limbo.
The floor is open. The floor is open. Someone, come on. Tell us.
Yes? Yes, Tribesman, go on. Tribesman.
You can hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So this is what I understood about the bride price. When a man goes through all those stages that the Honorable has prescribed, and then got to the point where the marriage is taking place, and then you pay a bride price. When you pay the bride price, that meant that the woman was now yours, right? The woman cannot run from the marriage house and go back to the family, right? Am I correct in that? Yeah, okay. So that woman now belongs to you because you married her into your family. But the thing that has come to pass and has come to make it very difficult has been that I'm going to say this, and this controversial, but the honorable member will correct me. It seemed to me that when you pay the bride price, then you can do anything you want to do with your wife. Okay, she cannot run back home because you paid the bride price. She cannot go back to the parent because you paid the bride price. And it may also give the man the authority to treat you any way he wants. I could be wrong in this, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, now let me go quickly. Then I will answer that, and then I will fix some things in there. You are right. You're speaking at the center. Now this is recap. Recap in Limbo means harvest. It doesn't mean money. It does not mean even anything.
Yeah.
It means harvest.
Yeah.
So okay, don't be careful how you talk about cap as bride price, because price
yeah.
in terms of economy, in terms of the capitalistic economic sense,
Yeah.
it's a medium of exchange that has a different meaning than the medium of exchange that we understand as cap. Cap is harvest. We pay the harvest. Imagine, have you ever known that we pay cap? Cap. We see a woman as the cap.
Yes. Capital.
Remember that I already said that we have a different reason for getting married. Reproduction is first.
Yeah.
Care, and then satisfaction. So we look at a woman as a cap harvest. When our parents used to tell us that they are paying cap, from time immemorial, they meant harvest. They didn't mean money.
Okay. Good.
Okay. The next thing is that whether you pay cap or whether you gigu, the woman can go at any time. The woman can still go back to their parents. That doesn't stop them from going back. But there are certain obligations. I'm going to describe that later. But what you need to know is this, that once you finish the gu, once you finish step 3, the woman is yours. All of the woman is yours. Once you finish step 3, all the woman is yours. But only the children, mark, only the children don't belong to you when you have not paid cap. So I want you to note the difference. Once you finish gigu, the woman is yours. You are ready to take your woman. The only problem is that you will not own the children. You pay your cap to own the children, to own the harvest.
Wow.
Okay. Now, so we are describing stage 4 now, which is cap. Cap is so that you have the marriage complete. Like when I didn't pay my cap to my father-in-law, every time he sees me, he tells me, you can't be more, you are going to you can.
Interesting.
So every time he sees me, he will say something just to, to tell me that I have not paid their cap. And remember that this thing will backfire only when either I'm coming, when I make children with that paying cap, that is when I come to pay the cap now, they will count the children and I will pay the children. Remember that.
Okay.
It has implications. So I'm going to discuss the implications when we start looking for divorce. When we start looking.
Okay. What's divorce?
Yes. So now, entrance. When you want to come and pay the cap, you bring the entrance again. Entrance means take wine from outside, bring it inside here. Because that's a separate occasion. But if you just arrange the cap when you finish the gu, it's not a separate occasion. Okay. But when you come to pay the cap separate, you must do an entrance fee, meaning the entering of with the wine. Again, when you see, because they cannot just come and sit here and then without and then people they just take wine and come and put. No, you have to take the wine from outside again and bring Cindy. You take wine from outside and bring here. When you bring the wine this time, it is not a marriage consummation, it's the paying of cap. So what you do is, you do the cap arrangement. The next thing is that the pronouncement of the bride price. The family head pronounces the bride price. He says, we will Njita. We Njimba. Okay. Then you people will say, so all of those things you will talk about it, then do back and forth bidding exchanges in happiness. You are not expected to be angry. And you are not expected to do it with pride. Do you imagine if they come and say, oh, my wife is 500,000 and I just remove the 500,000 and say, take over there, take over there. They will send me out of that compound. It is not with arrogance, but with humility that you value your wife. Okay? So you come, you value your wife. The arrangement means the valuing process. It doesn't mean the bidding process. It means the valuing process. So what you do is, you value back and forth, and you tell some stories and laugh again. You have to relax. Okay? Now, when you are going to Mbumland this time, have 200,000 and above.
Why?
Now the value of money of exchange or medium of exchange is changing, and families are changing things, and now it is beginning from 200,000. The way I've gone now to 3 most recent ones. They are bidding more than that's 300 and something thousand.
Can you give me a reason for why?
The reason is that when they go to buy, when they go to settle theirs, people ask them the same. So there is a culture that has gone wild. And nobody is in control. It is a free market system where, yes.
When did the Mbum people become free market?
It is a market system where the culture has spread. And when you go to buy, you go to value your wife, they will tell you a price that is mind-blowing. And then you enter into it, you want to debate it, is something else, it's tough. Now the next thing is, they say, okay, when we go to other cultures, like, let me tell you, for true, other cultures do it even higher than us, right now. Other cultures value their women even bigger than Mbum people right now. Only Kumbu, only Nsok people now are a little better. Okay? But some people are better, but very wise. How they do it, they end up taking more in laughter. Okay? They are very wise. So you find that the bride price now, when you go to Mbumland, starts from 200. If you want to be comfortable, start from 200. Don't be surprised. Don't be shocked. Okay? Now, this is just my advice. But look, that is how it goes. The pronouncement comes, and then you talk about the valuing your wife. You value your wife. And then now you want to go to payment. You have settled, you are valued, you want to pay. What you do is you have to bring another fee, which is called Mbarwa, the mat fee. Mat fee comes from the fact that our fathers used to count money on the mat. They used to put the money down so that everybody is seeing before they count it. Because such money, you don't play with it. It comes out from, just from that ground, it is going into the cap back, the bar cap. So what they used to do is to get a little mat, you pay for the mat, and then they count the money. When they count the money, they take it away. Now you have Mbarwa now is from 5,000 upward. It used to be 1,000. It used to be 2,000. But now it has changed. It's from 5,000 upward if you want to be comfortable. Okay? So you come to the wa. They don't even use wa, but they ask for it. Which means the Wi-Fi will say, ambassador, he receives it. He receives it like this. He receives it like this and passes it to his brother to count. He doesn't count. He passes it to his brother to count. And the brother has to count in clarity for everybody to see, like this. When he counts and finishes, he gives it back to the sub-chief, and the sub-chief says, okay, it goes. Now, after that now, the sub-chief leaves the place as if he's going to put the money in the bar cap, and then pockets it. So now, at this particular time, they used to put in the bar cap, and they are supposed to put in bar cap. They come back now, and you are discussing now and drinking. Dimwe hayo sene nido bamboo. Wewe ayo. Then it is now you have finished your marriage. Okay, you finished the marriage.
Okay.
Now when you have done it, when you have finished it, you own your wife, which means I'm going there now. You have your wife. Your wife is legitimately, culturally, legitimately yours. So now we will be into step 5, which is Lorngwa. But these first 4 steps are so important before Lorngwa. Like we said, you don't come and kidnap a girl that you don't know the parent, you have not done anything, and you have not done step 1 to 4, and then you come to Lorngwa. Okay, so that is it. Now, Tribesman, you have a hot question.
Brother, I just want to throw something into the bride price thing, right? What do you think, and do you believe, or do you realize that nowadays they charge the bride price related to these 2 elements of the woman? Education. And this one may be controversial, and you may argue whether she's light skinned or she's dark skinned. Can you do anything?
Or whether she's tall or short. Now,
Yes. Don't talk about that further.
Okay, those elements will come maybe in the divorce segment. But let me point out something that you have touched is that in good families that don't want to be very cultural in this time. Let's say I'm the parent of the girl and I'm in my enlarged family. Once the enlarged family asks them whether they have seen me, and they say yes, they have seen me.
Yes.
And my family asks me whether those people have seen me the way I want. I say yes, they have seen me the way I want. That family is good. That family is culturally fine. But this is what happens. When you go to see the father of a child, like me, because I'm the one to introduce you to my family. So when you come to see me this time, I will ask for education money. I will ask for this for you to fulfill first before I take you to the family. Now, education money is coming in now because we are westernized. What used to be education is farming. What used to be occupation is farming. It's not education like we go to school, they will value you somebody who has completed university. They value you somebody, a girl who has a master's, a girl who has a PhD. They will now want to value that girl higher. But let me tell you, what is very, very true and very culturally right is this.
Really?
When you come to a family, when it comes to bride price, the family doesn't have cultural mandate or authority to price according to the child's education.
And it happens.
The traditional authority derived to charge bride price according to education.
So
A true family will never charge bride price according to education.
okay.
An honest family, a good family, will not be that selfish. But let me tell you that dishonesty is on the rise. Unfortunately.
Okay.
What will happen is you will struggle with your father-in-law and settle things before your father-in-law brings you in. And when they start talk about education money, tell them, I already talked about that with my father-in-law, and we have arranged everything. We have talked about that. Usually now when you go, try to persuade your father-in-law, let him be satisfied. Tell him you do not have education money. Tell him you have education money. Arrange everything before he brings you to the family, so that you have the right in the family to tell them to go by cultural norms. If you do not, then when you reach that family now, they will ask, did you see this father? You say no. They say, okay, go outside now and finish with him first before you come here. Because you have to finish with him and he has to be satisfied before they even put their mouth in it. Okay, thank you. Now, I think I touched on it, and then we will revisit it.
I know that, brother. But I want to inject one cultural differences. The Banso people don't ask for dowry.
Yeah, please, just before I just want to come in here. We have just 20 minutes left, so I think we should keep maybe our questions will come. Let's just permit our speaker to see if he can wrap up with this part. In fact, he's compelled to squeeze everything up in the next 15 minutes so that we give time for a couple of questions. Just put down your questions, we'll take them. I just want to plead with your indulgence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Up to you.
All right, thank you. So we will talk about that. Especially with Banso marriages, we'll talk about when we're doing intertribal. All right, now, the next step, which is step 5, is owning your wife. You have done up to stage 4. You want to own your wife now. It's called Lorongwa. You want to Lorongwa. In the past, it used to be a very solemn, very, very structured. You know, it used to be joy in the village. Okay? Now, it used to be measured so that it is enjoyable when they do that. Sometimes they will go and fight before picking up. And that kind of fighting is a nice, holy fight.
Yeah.
So now, you take your wife home, okay? You want to take your wife. So you go, meet your wife, and you want to take your wife. You want to take your wife, today now is in different ways. You can take her by flight, you can take her by vehicle, you can take her by hand, by foot, and everything. Today now, you can take by every means. Take your wife home. Of course, by any means, get your wife home. Then give her 2 honey weeks. 2 honey weeks means you will shave her head. You may want to know the meaning of shaving the head of a wife, right? You will shave her head, place her behind, you know, at the corner for 2 weeks. During that particular time, you may want to know why. I should be able to touch on that later. But after 2 weeks, after 2 honey weeks, you take your wife and then introduce her to the public. How do you introduce to the public? In the past, they used to take her to Ngwa. Take her to Ngwa. These days, we take to church. All right? These days, we take to church, we take to places where we meet people. All right? But it is introducing to the public. Now, the next thing was to introduce her to the farm. Okay? It was to introduce her to the farm. Why I say was is because many people are now not farming. And even farming now is industrialized. So you introduce them to their farm, meaning you now give her freedom to go about her occupation. Meaning, if you are working as a nurse, you are free now to go freely and work as a nurse. You're working as a doctor, you go, you work as this, you go. You're free now to go outside and do your occupation, work. Okay? So that is summarily Lorongwa. Okay? That's the summary of Lorongwa. So we've gone from stage 1 to stage 5 progressively. You do not start to Lorongwa when you have not finished step 1 to 4. step 4 when you have not finished step 3. You do not do step 3 when you have not finished step 2. So you do not do step 2 when you have not finished step 1. Step 1 is Yengwa, step 2 is Mreni, step 3 is the marriage proper, which is Gigu. Step 4 is the cap, the bride price. Step 5 is Lorwa. In that way, in that order. Now, let me rush through divorce. Okay? Let me rush through divorce.
Yeah, just before you go through divorce, I'm sorry again to interfere, Mr. Speaker. I just want to find out from the audience, because we'll have a lot of questions. I have about 8 questions here myself. I'm not sure if I'll be able to ask all the questions, but I just want to know from the audience if this is something we can take for the next sitting. Maybe we take divorce in the Mbum land like a whole topic, where or a speaker, or a couple of persons, or the speaker himself may want to come back to us and give us a very wonderful insight about divorce in the Mbum land. I'm not sure if that's something we'd like to have, because if we have to rush over divorce, which is one of the most important aspects of our culture as well, it's like we will be thirsty to know more about that. So I think as of now, maybe I would like for him just to say 1 or 2 conclusive words concerning marriage and dowry and bride price. Then let's get into an interactive question answer session so that we may be able to respect time as well. And of course, we have several other sessions coming in. This is like one of the first of the type, but in about 4 weeks' time, we have another wonderful topic, which will depend on you. And so, Mr. Speaker, would you like just to give us some conclusive, summary as we are enjoying your debate or your discourse? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's good that that portion of divorce we can store it and then come back to it. Now, let me run through the 5 presenting questions. The 5 presenting questions, and then you can go into question and answer session. The first question was, can I find a perfect, culturally predictable partner? The answer is no. You can find something to do, but you cannot find perfection. You cannot find perfect. There's nobody who is perfect. You can look for a culturally nice lady, but they will change. I'm telling you, some women can change, some men change like chameleon. So you may see somebody today, they are very nice, they are very good, they come from a nice family, but the next day, you wouldn't even know that person by their behavior. Now, what if parents refuse our union? What if the parents refuse our union? That is bearing on Ringni. If the parents refuse your union, that is the beginning of trouble. If you want to marry in this culture and the parents have a question mark, that's the beginning of trouble, because the parents are the ones who bless your marriage. There's a spiritual connotation to that blessing. They bless everything, including the marriage. So what you want to do is to work hard and make sure that you bring a girl or you bring a man whom your parents will look at and be convinced that this person could be a person good for you. Okay? If they refuse for any reason, today, children are just going their way. They probably may not marry and they may not tell their parents the way it's going now. But those who remain in touch with their parents are blessed. Okay? So if your parents refuse a union, work hard to convince them before you go ahead. you may consider stopping it. Or you may ask them, what do they really need? They can drill you, they can tell you what to do. And you go with them together is the best thing for you. What if the parents refuse? You consider convincing your parents or consider stopping it. Number 3, what if I don't have enough money? That based on marriage proper. Since marriage is getting expensive, in the past, people used to take time before they ever do the gigu. Because they didn't have much money, they didn't have a lot of things. So they meet one person at a time, They meet them out. When they come to sit in the gathering, they are just coming to consummate the marriage. And when they are coming to consummate the marriage, they will just say, oh, I already saw it. I saw Tanfu, I saw this person, I saw they are all seen. But it has taken him maybe 10 years to see them before coming to the stage of seeking to consummate the marriage. So what if I don't have enough money? Take your time. Take your time this time, and then make sure you do your marriage in the right way. It can take you a long time, but always stay in touch with your father-in-law, your mothers-in-law, and with your family to make sure that the marriage is continuing. It is not stopping, but you are doing it. You are making the gigu as stage 3. Stage 4, Do Mbum people sell their daughters into marriage. That is a big question now. You may want to defend it, that, oh, they don't sell. You may want to say, no, it is this. But let us look at how things are going. Things are going to a point where everybody shall be interpreting that we sell our daughters. Because it is going now into a place where we emphasize money too much. And sometimes somebody pays, but pays in anger. You know, and it doesn't go well. But do we have to? Are we supposed to sell our daughters? That's a different question than do Mbum people sell their daughters? Because it depends on your interpretation of selling. Now, do you sell your daughters? Now, let me clarify one thing here. Are you supposed to culturally sell your daughters? No. You value your daughters. You give your daughters into marriage. You do not sell them. You give your daughters out into marriage. You do not sell them. Now, how do you explain that? When our fathers did not sell, what happened? Okay. The word, the Limbum word for sell is called fini. All right? The Limbum word for sell is fini. Okay. Fini is derived from a root word that is called mfisi. Mfisi. Mfisi means the semblance or the same thing of. Now, when you want to value your wife, you want to give something in exchange. You want to give mfisi, not necessarily money. That is what our fathers used to call fini. They did not use to call fini using the medium, which is money today. They used to call fini in exchange, even. They used to call fini in cowries, even. So fini means I am doing an exchange to receive something that resembles, something of value, that resembles, that stands as a value. That is why we call token. It is a value. So fini means you are receiving or giving something that resembles, giving something in semblance.
Yeah, so just to conclude, Mr. Speaker, do you mean that in the Mbum land, we do not sell our daughters? I just want to get like that a last statement for conclusion so that we go to another point, something else.
We did not sell our daughters.
Okay, perfect.
And we are not supposed to sell
Okay.
our daughters. Okay. Number 5 means, what if I discover that my spouse is barren? That goes into the question of divorce. So we will enter into divorce, and then we'll discuss all of those intricacies concerning divorce. Now we will end here.
Thank you so much. I think he needs a hand of applause, because please unmute yourself and let's give Nformi a great hand of applause for this wonderful, just unmute yourself, please. Yeah, thank you so very much. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you. So please, can you mute yourself while we are putting the patches together? First point is that I would like for Edison to come in just for 2 minutes and give us a kind of observation. For now, we're not taking questions yet, but Edison, who is one of the anchormen, he has 1 or 2 minutes to tell us what exactly he thinks about this presentation. Edison, over to you, please.
Thank you very much. Nformi, Tapsio, when I saw you on the crew, I knew you were going to pilot the plane to the end. Thank you so much. Yeah, just to bring more what we have already learned so much from Nformi. He brought us some principles, and we want to know that one, a child does not belong, a Mbum child does not belong to the biological parents, but belongs to the whole family. When it comes to marriage, it therefore means not only the biological parents are concerned, but the whole family is concerned. They have concern about the well-being of, especially the girl child who is being given into marriage. They want to make sure that this girl is secured. So when Nformi was talking about the question about what if parents refuse? What if parents refuse? Normally, at the stage of Yengwa, okay, Yengwa, Vusong ni parents. Tobo fienye memo, njo yokito and dimbo in a nchula or incest has repercussions in the life of a Mbum man, which means you cannot get married to your relative. So when you grow out of the Mbum community, of the Mbum, set up in the village, you meet somebody out there, and maybe you want to get married to the person, you don't know that even though you are not from the same village, but you're related, and those families don't get married. So these are some of the things that when you bring up to parents who happen to master the relationships between both families, and where their other families are found in other villages, they may stop a marriage because of these reasons. And if a marriage is supposed to be stopped for this reason, I think, as Nformi rightly said, the children have to understand with the parents, because they will go, if they are stubborn to go ahead and get married, they will be involved in what we call incest. Marriage has evolved today, and there are a lot of things that we have not been able to talk as per preserving our culture. That means
you have 1 more minute, Mr. Edison. Yeah. Just 1 more minute, please. Yeah.
It's too much. 1 more minute is too much already. So there's a lot that we can say about this. So I think that a boy, what we talk about cap today, children or men look for money and pay the bride price, but the responsibility of the bride price is of the family. That means the extended family, not even the biological family of the boy child. Because when the bride price, the cap enters the BAM cap, they remove it from there and then pay the bride prices of other children in that family. That is why they don't eat, they don't consume, they don't take the cap and use it to buy oil and eat. It is used to go and pay for another child who will come as a wife to another son in that family. Let me end here. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And just before we continue with the last part of this this great presentation, I would like for each and everyone just to indicate if you had enjoyed this discussion, if you had enjoyed this presentation, just go to the chat board and just write anything, give a qualifier. Was it amazing? Was it interesting? And the more qualifiers we have about 3 minutes for that. The more qualifiers we have, then we'll be ready to program another one. So please, can you just mute your mic, please? Mute your microphone, please. Please, can you mute your microphones, please? Thank you. So basically, we just need to find out about the qualifiers, how you can qualify this presentation. There's, please mute your mics, please. Yeah, so we are getting the qualifiers. The qualifiers will enable us to know yeah, if we can. Something. Okay. There is a resounding noise somewhere. I'm not sure. Yeah, so we want to know if we can continue with such educational discourse. We have one in place again coming up in November, by November ending. So please, the number of qualifiers or the yes or the whatever will be your impression of the chat will definitely encourage us to bring up more presentations within the Mbum land, the Mbum culture. So at this time, I'll call on Nelson, who is one of our co-coordinators, to tell us what he feels about this presentation. Yes, Nelson, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Time for me, there's something, maybe I'm not sure if it's at your end, we can't get it so well.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, yeah, go ahead, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I think there's too many microphones open, so can we so that the message goes Hello?
Yes, go ahead, we're listening to you.
Somebody need to mute themselves, somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, the microphone's open. Nile buma Garcia la tulanji la nane me kwazine biaye ne bugor and biambo sinane zizi aturbo bi mo fa werezi bi aturbo jo bi doguga mwe bi ke zinine ke bombangro abi jerke wi bombangro bo binje abi gige ka receive business bo ambo abba. So me kwasi biaye ni busi as young time for me in a siagaba organize mu presentation of channel regularly. Even by see we really have learned a lot, and I can't pretend. I think that we would only be glad to have such presentations coming back, if not more regularly. I think that it would be enriching for the Mbum community, as well as those who are not of our community, so that when the intermarriages take place, they should also have had an idea of how it happens within our own community. Thank you very much, Tam, for me. Thank you, community.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nelson. I think I have seen here for Steve. I'm not sure, maybe you have a word for us. What's your impression at the end of this presentation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, brothers and sisters. It's Stephen Paul. I'm based in the UK. This is a very wonderful initiative, and I think this is going to help us. This is going to help us uphold our culture and even sustain it. I just was going to make a tiny remark on some of the things that Tam Nformi said, especially when he was using the word consummation in marriage. I think it might give different meanings to different people, especially when you are talking about marriage. I think he actually meant endorsement from the family, because the consummation is not done that way, really. Then the other thing I wanted to bring out is that maybe with time and modernity, things have changed. There is a lot of referral that is involved in our marriages. And there is also a lot of, at times, it is just even the determinant might just be the consolidation of friendship between parents. Your father might think that he was a good friend to another gentleman who has a daughter, and the daughter says, because I've known you for this while, I will give my daughter to you in marriage. And that will not follow the normal marriage procedures. Then there is a question of investigations into the background of the family of the girl or the family of the boy. We usually believe that if there's something which is wrong in the family, it can run through the blood of the whole family. Maybe there was a thief in that family, there was somebody who committed murder in that family, that can have an impact. So those are some of the determinants that we have when it comes even just to the level of trying to get engaged. I thought I should just bring up those aspects.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. Again, I want to just beg that if the national president, Mr. Shea Henry, is he here? Or I know it's a little late down there. I just want to know if he is available.
Yes, he's available.
Okay, perfect. So again, we want to give the honor. We're so grateful for the participation. Please, I know how much questions we still owing. Our next session is coming on very soon, but I will beg that we preview 3 hours, and at this time, in these 3 hours, we'll call on the national president to close this first pilot session. And again, I want us to give a hand of applause to Nformi EK, and call on the national president, Mr. Shea, to close up. Thank you.
The president is muted.
Yeah, is national president muted? Please unmute, and we are waiting for you to close the session and this first pilot discourse.
No further question.
Yeah, no further question for now. Mr. Bombini, we will discuss the question later, Mr. Bombini.
I think the president is muted, so he needs to unmute himself.
All right, so, right, please, Mr. President, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, please.
Perfect. So listening.
Are you getting me? Are you listening?
Yes, we are listening. Please mute your mute your mics, please, because Auntie Ajay will hang on me again very soon when my system is already very complex.
Please,
so, Mr. President, we call on you for the last word, the closure of this session.
Yes, thank you very much for this session. I want to thank Nformi EK, who has been very, very eloquent talking about this, and thank him very much. Nformi, we went to practice put together in Taku, and I know he knows a lot of culture. So what he brought out today has been very, very educative to most of our Mbum people, and those who we married out would have married to Mbum people, so that we know how we can mix up. So that we have to learn these things to pass to our generation, so that we know when you are getting married, you should know the culture from where you are coming and going. So it has been interesting, and hope that, as I said before, we didn't know divorce in Mbumland, because when you take that cup, drink and give to who you want to be married to, that bond is there, that covenant is there. But today, if not divorce and whatever, that's the white man kind of thing. But in Mbumland,
yeah, I don't know.
as the diary has been paid, if that diary is not refunded, even if you leave that, the children you deliver belong to that person. And the day you die, that woman will be buried in that man's compound. So that is the culture. And even though we are moving into modernity, but we think that if we uphold our culture, we remain what we are. Thank you, Nformi EK. It has been great. Thanks to everybody who has contributed in this program, so that we continue to learn and know where we are coming from and where we are going to. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And there is, for those who would like to stay and socialize, and you know, this is still the forum. We still have a couple of minutes before we close the link up. But once again, we want, on behalf of the Mbum people in Cameroon and abroad, Nformi, we say thank you for this great presentation.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. God bless you.